I'm just Nick, and this is the DeVille Electronics Deuce Coupe Overdrive. Here's the clean sound. So, I think the best way for me to describe this pedal is kind of a do-all overdrive and distortion machine. It covers a really wide range of low to kind of high gain tones. It provides enough of an output boost to overdrive the front end of a tube amp. And it remains very kind of consistent tonally and very dynamic throughout the range of distortions. I know that I've been talking about dynamics this, dynamics that with tons of distortion and overdrive and fuzz pedals that I've been demoing lately. The fact is, these days, it seems like some of the more inventive and better, I don't want to say better, some manufacturers, some designers are really paying extra attention to trying to maintain some kind of dynamic range in distortion devices, which is to say, create distortion devices that are expressive because they respond differently depending upon how you hit the strings, depending upon signal level, etc. They do not compress too much. Inevitably, any distortion device is compressing some. You're clipping off the peak of waveforms, you're by definition compressing the signal some, but pedals like this maintain a lot of expressiveness by maintaining a lot of dynamics, even at higher distortion settings. If that were the whole deal with this pedal, that would be cool. But in fact, there's another deal with this pedal, which is that it's actually a two-level overdrive boost pedal. You can go from drive to ultra. How could that happen, you say? There's only one switch in this nice small enclosure. Well, all you have to do is hit the switch twice in rapid succession. Both LEDs come on, and now you have ultra mode. And this is what's exciting about this. Ultra mode is an additional clean boost that does not further saturate the pedal, makes the tone kind of bigger, and if anything, a little bit stiffer and punchier in exactly the sort of way you want when you want to move from a rhythm tone, a kind of crunchy, to a lead tone. Just punches through, and this is what I love about it. The tonal coloration and the response to the pedal is kind of consistent. It gets a little stiffer, a little bit punchier, but it doesn't sound like you're stepping on another pedal. It doesn't sound like you're switching to another tone. It basically is taking that tone that you have, making it a little bit louder and a little bit crisper in exactly the sort of way when you want to add some emphasis, especially in a dense live mix for a solo for a particular rhythm part. So it's extremely functional in that sense. I want to give you a feel for the gain range of this pedal. Let's go down to the minimum gain range. It's basically clean. Clean with a little bit of additional mid-range emphasis from the bypassed tone. So this is capable of very, very low gain tones, like this. Mid-range girth, but not to the point of really making you sound like you're playing a different guitar or a different amp. Just kind of a little more muscle and just a bit of grind. And as we go up halfway on the range, back off the volume to compensate. Nice dynamic crunch tone. Plenty of bottom. We're not rolling off a ton of bottom as with some overdrives. Stays pretty solid. And we'll go up to the maximum now. It gets pretty grindy, but still in the sort of realm of a kind of crunchy grind. We're not getting into metal tones here, and it still remains dynamic and cleans up just beautifully with the volume knob. Another kind of particular characteristic of this pedal is it's very, very good. Some pedals, and I'm almost all the way down on the volume here. Some pedals will have a tendency to really thin out when you roll out. They'll clean up, but they'll thin out. You'll lose a lot of bottom and lower mid-range. This pedal does not. It's very, very linear in how it responds to different volume pod settings. Boy, that ability to kind of maintain the same tonal signature when cleaning up is kind of almost worth the price of admission on its own. And at max, when we go into ultra mode, again, same kind of gain level, but a little bit more stiffness and punch to it. This pedal is also extremely adept at pairing with the drive channel on an amp with a drive channel, precisely because you have these two levels of drive and that the second one is not adding further saturation. So you can still use it in the same way you would as a standalone pedal into a clean amp with a drive channel, where maybe you'd set up your rhythm crunch tone, be able to saturate that further by going to the drive mode, and then be able to come up in volume and definition by going to the ultra mode. I should mention that, like I think all Jack DeVille Electronics pedals, this pedal has true bypass switching, but it's relay based. So you have this kind of soft touch switch, and I think that's what allows the pedal also to control the two modes with a single switch. It's a soft touch switch. It's silent. It doesn't have the popping associated with a double pole, double throw mechanical switch, or direct switching, and it should also be considerably more reliable and have a longer service life than a straight up mechanical switching situation. So essentially what the switch does is control a relay, and the relay is what's switching in and out the effect, and the relay, like a double throw, double pole switch, when it's bypassing, it's not adding any additional circuitry to the chain. Your signal is basically going straight through via conductors, and that's it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not a true bypass freak. A pedal with a well-implemented buffer has advantages, etc., but I know a lot of folks don't like to have too many buffered pedals or any buffered pedals or whatever. So this is true bypass with the cool switching. I don't know what else to say. I can see this pedal, if you like a fairly uncolored overdrive crunch sound that, you know, lets your guitar's personality kind of come through, and you need a pretty wide range, everything kind of short of metal, from a distortion device in one fairly small pedal, fairly simple. This is it. Tone control dials in for different rigs, and this is just a versatile, nicely built, cool looking pedal with a single switch and 2 LEDs and 3 knobs. Oh, I read on the site it operates at 18 volts internally, even though it's got a 9 volt, works with a regular 9 volt power supply or battery. Internal voltage doubling for greater headroom. I suspect that's part of the secret behind the particularly wide dynamic range of this pedal.